Hi, I'm State Senator Joe Markley up here at the Capitol on a very quiet day with a very grim update on what's going on in the state politically. Today's Monday, and it was just in a Connecticut Mirror story, something that I think all of us knew was coming, which is a projection of a budget deficit, again, of over $1 billion in 2017. So what that means is over the last 5 years under Governor Malloy, we've had the two largest tax increases in state history, and the result has been increased deficits. Why is that? Because those tax increases stifle economic growth, they drive producers out of state, and they have exactly the opposite effect of what it is that we need to be doing in the state of Connecticut. When the budget was presented to us 2 years ago, I challenged Ben Barnes, the budget director, on projections of economic growth over 7% a year in some of the years. I just didn't see how that would happen in Connecticut. I thought at that point that they were giving us a dishonest budget. Barnes swore that he meant what he said, but now we see the fruits of those tax increases. And the other fruit we're seeing, of course, is the threat by General Electric, which I think most of us are now expecting, to leave the state because of a specific tax increase we imposed on them, the unitary tax, which puts all of their corporate income at risk of being taxed by the state of Connecticut, not just what's generated here. Malloy and his legislative allies nonsensically reacted to General Electric, not by doing away with the tax, but simply by delaying it for a year. If the tax is going to drive business out of state, it doesn't matter whether we do it this year or next year, the businesses are going to leave. And what the businesses really can't stand is the constant threat that more and more is coming. And the fact of this billion-dollar deficit with the same people in charge that just hit us with two enormous tax increases is further reasons for business to anticipate more and more burdens to be put on them. That is not all the bad news that has come since I last spoke to you. Governor Malloy also announced a reduction of the budget, which hits specifically at hospitals, a cut in funding to hospitals of approximately $186 million. In this administration, over 5 years, the hospitals have been hit increasingly almost every single year, and I don't know what motivates Governor Malloy to go after hospitals like this. It doesn't make sense to me. And one of the most nonsensical parts about this particular cut is the fact that the savings to the state is only about $63 million. But the cost to the hospitals, as I said, is $186 million, because there's over $120 million of federal money, which we would receive if we gave the hospitals the $60 million, which now doesn't come to them and does not come to the state of Connecticut. So much of what we do as a state government is predicated on leveraging federal dollars. And it's very odd to me that in this case, these federal dollars are leveraged 2 to 1, that Governor Malloy is satisfied in walking away from over $120 million in federal funding to realize a relatively small savings. He seems to have a particular animus against the hospitals. I don't understand it, and the hospitals can't take it much longer. I know I deal with hospitals in my own district that have been trying to find a way to move forward to get their financial house in order. It's very difficult to attract outside investors, again, when the state keeps coming down harder and harder on the hospitals. I think the only thing I could call good news in all of this is the fact that there are signs that some of the Malloy's Democratic allies are starting to get antsy. There was an article just last week in which Senator Ted Kennedy Jr., the son of the longtime U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, who is himself now a state senator from the Branford, Madison, Guilford area, that Ted Kennedy has said he doesn't like these hospital cuts either, and he doesn't like the way the legislature proceeds. He talked about some of the same things you've heard me discuss in terms of last-minute information, having to vote on things without adequate preparation, emergency certification of bills. Our only chance, aside from changing direction in an election, is for some of the reasonable Democrats, or perhaps some of the fearless Democrats, to jump ship, to say that they've had enough. and it's my hope that that will happen. One of the things we're doing specifically as Senate Republicans is petitioning to bring us back into a special session, which would give us a chance to address this budget, which obviously is starting to spiral out of control. It would give us a chance to consider undoing this very damaging cut to the hospitals, and to get a jump on the kind of real budget process we have to put in place if we're going to find savings instead of simply going back to do tax increases. I'm very hopeful that we can get a couple of Democrats to join with us and bring us back into session early. I will keep you posted on that effort and on the other news that we have here from the Capitol. If you haven't otherwise signed up or checked in with me, please visit my website, senatormarkley.com. You can also send me an email through that site, and I'll be back with an update in a few weeks.